Good afternoon. Hey, everybody. This is Eric from TopFlight Trades. Let me adjust my microphone here. This is Eric from TopFlight Trades. It is Saturday, August 8th. This is the weekend stock review. Sorry we're late today. Well, I've been a little bit under the weather and we've been traveling this week. So just getting rolling here, really, for the most part. So I want to do this video. This was one that wasn't necessarily planned. I didn't schedule it. I've been having a hard time catching up with people. And, of course, myself, I've been on some muscle relaxant and painkillers due to a back injury. And so I've just been a little bit out of it. So anyways, I wanted to do this video. And it's, this will, of course, still be posted on the website, on Google, InvestFeed, StockTwits, TopFlight Trades, everywhere. And if anybody has any questions and want to talk about a stock or anything like that, if you can go ahead and reach out to me at topflighttrades@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to get back with you. And if you even wanted to do a video, we can do that and kind of look at some stocks. But I do have a few here to look at, a couple by request as well. The first thing we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at the markets here and see how the markets performed this last week. So why don't we do that? And if you also maybe have noticed, I've moved my camera. So I don't know how it is. You can kind of see my house a little bit more than the piles of clothes I had behind me once previously. So being a bachelor is a good thing sometimes. So, all right, let's jump on over and take a look at some charts here. I believe we have the chat is up and active here. Let me take a look in case anybody has any questions. Hello there. If we receive that. Otherwise, let's jump right on in and let's take a look at some charts here. All right, let's take a look at the S&P first off. Okay, this is the weekly. Let me jump to the daily. Okay, so here's the S&P. Okay, so in a nutshell, we talk about this every week, that we're just treading water here. We're not really doing anything. We're trading sideways. It's really choppy. There is somewhat of a range in here, as you can see. We've kind of been trading between, but not very consistent all the time. Yeah. So far we are holding the 200-day for the most part. Back here, this is October. This is that big dip we had in October that we pierced through the 200-day and then popped right back out of it, like holding a ball underwater and having it just pop right out. And it continued to climb up a little bit. And, again, so here we are. And then, we found resistance in this area here, but we've popped through it a couple of times. So actually I could probably raise this up a bit. I mean, this is just all over. So again, how can we play this? What are we doing here? Well, the number one thing for me is the overall outlook of the markets. I'm thinking that we're going to definitely continue to see some weakness in the markets, and we could possibly be heading downward. And every few days, I get more and more convinced of it. Okay, so let's look here most recently. All right, where are we now? So last week, we were about in this range here. I didn't think we were really going to have enough strength to come up here. Who knows? We certainly didn't. We turned right around this last week, and we're red for the most part. We're back down here, the 200-day again. My overall outlook on the markets, like I've said, is now mostly bearish. I'm playing a lot on the downside. And it goes back to, I believe it was the June 19th. No, where was it? I guess it was right around in here. It might have been the 12th. I forget. But we failed to make a new high. Okay. So you see this high. Well, this high was not higher than this high. But we held support. We found a new high here. Pretty much came up to the resistance there. Pulled back. Found a new high. That was good. But then we pulled back, failed to meet a new high, and then we have this high here, which was not greater than this one. We're not really going anywhere, and still we haven't been able to really move through this area at all. So back in here is when I started to play more on the downside, be more bearish than bullish. And I still had some bullish plays that were active, but all of them had pretty much failed me. Yeah, all of them pretty much failed me. Let me take a look at something here. Here's AMBA. Geez, just kind of all over the place here. Did pretty good through earnings. AMBA is a very strong company, but I mean, this is not one that's just taken off. So CNC, this stock was also very high, and I was into this one. Don't Don't remember how I did in this one. I'll have to look, but probably nothing to boast about. I don't think I got caught in this. I think I got out just before it. Just was not moving. And so my long-term bullish outlook on the stock was definitely diminished. And I closed out while I could, and that was probably a good move. I'm not seeing where I'm at with that. Anyways, that's just one. Anyways, so all right. So back to the S&P. So again, my concern is we're not making higher highs. We're not getting through the resistance up here. And you know, when we've come down here and hit support a few times here in the last few weeks, the 200 day, I worry about that. And so here we are now. Today's Saturday. We're going to start the week off. Now, what are we going to do this next week? Are we going to be positive? We're going to bounce off this and get a nice bounce off it like we did previously? I don't know. I hope so. But again, it's just weak for me. So I've been playing a lot on the short side, on the downside. Pretty much, I think I have one position that is long right now, and the rest, the other dozen, are short. And I'll get into those a little bit. Okay, so I know some of you are probably, you've been a bull for a long time, as I have, and don't give up now. You're probably saying and all this, and then you probably hold a lot of positions. It's okay. All right. You really don't. Okay, this could easily pop through here, and the markets could take off, and we're going to have this awesome breakout, and this is just going to go. Okay, then I'll be in trouble if I'm on the bearish side. It doesn't matter. I'm playing what I'm playing right now. Okay, and this is just what I'm seeing here. So far, it's working, but again, I can't see the future here. But what you really have to do is be prepared to play this. You could play this channel in here. I mean, you can see we've been coming down to this area, or even the 200 day, and we're kind of bouncing around in here. Again, just look at the last few weeks here. So, yeah, that's the S&P. Now let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Okay, here's the NASDAQ. So now you can see we're down here on the 100-day EMA right here. Same kind of thing, though. Look at this. So we turn on the linear regression, and you can see our channel here. There we go. Okay, so this is a nice upward rising channel here, the linear regression channel. It is upward. That's good. Whereas the S&P is sideways. Let me take a look. Yeah, see the sideways. It's mostly sideways, mostly flat. NASDAQ, again, we have been trading in this range here. We did get some good movement through here. But again, now we're back at the bottom of the channel, resting on the 200-day, 100-day moving average there. So we'll see how we do there. And, of course, we have the 200-day floating around down here, way down here on the NASDAQ, which last time we tested that was back in October, way back here. Okay, so the NASDAQ, doesn't look that bad as a chart. But it is pretty sloppy. And now let's take a look at the old Dow. Now this is the Dow, the loser, the downer, the laggard, the whatever you want to call her. Let's take a look at the linear regression. Okay, so here's the regression channel that's being drawn right now, and you can see it's downward. And clearly the Dow is the weakest of the two or the three. We've come up to this area here, come up to resistance up here, and it's just failed to meet it. It's just not making higher highs, and it's making lower lows, at least since May, June. It's just on the downward slide. And unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. And again, now we're at the bottom of the channel down here. We're underneath the 200-day. We're at the bottom of the linear regression channel. And this could easily drop further. And I know you're probably saying, well, there's a lot of reasons for the Dow being down. It doesn't matter. I really don't care. The point is that it is. I mean, the charts don't lie. There's a million reasons for this stuff. But that's where I'm at with it. So what does next week bring us? Again, like every week, I don't know. I can only take a guess. What I would guess, looking at the charts here, what I would guess is that if I want to respect the channel here, we could come down and have a bad day Monday and get a bounce, or we could just bounce off the 200-day and hopefully find new highs. I just don't have the confidence in the markets right now for that. But we are at the bottom half of the channel here on the 200-day. Let's see if we can get a bounce out of this. Again, I'm just uncertain on the strength of the markets to perform. I'm thinking we could get a couple of green days, maybe up to this area here, and then we might turn downward. But I don't know. We can only wait and see. So the question is, what are we playing? What is Eric playing? Okay, so I will refer to the short list. If you haven't seen our short list over at TopFlight Trades, let me see if I can pull it up here. While I pull it up, I will jump back over to the camera here. If I can find me. All right. Here we are. Don't stop broadcast. We want to turn off the screen share. All right. You think this is my first time using this program here? My goodness. Okay. Stop sharing. Okay. Now we're back to me. There we are. Okay. So let me pull that up right now. And I'll show you our short list. Okay. So here recently, what I've been doing again is with the markets being the way they are, I've been utilizing some of my short setups, and I've been posting those, and I've been posting those on this page at topflighttrades.com under the short list. And these are the shares. These are the stocks that meet my criteria, kind of the opposite of the premium picks. These are the short lists. These are the ones that I'm expecting to fall, to decline rapidly, pretty much. Okay, it looks like it's updated. So let me jump back over to this again, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Back to screen share. There we go. Okay, so here's our short list. So let me zoom down here. Let's go back a bit. You can see how long I've been pretty much bearish. Not completely bearish, but when we started trading sideways, getting a look at what we've been doing. So all the way back in April, let me look back here, April. So here we are back in here. Okay, so, okay, now, sorry about that. So now we're back at the S&P again, okay? So we had our October dip, recovery, okay, and we've been climbing. We finally get new higher highs. And then right here, we failed to get a higher high. As you can see, that's back May 23rd. Okay, then we went and we continued downward. And we just, by that point, you get to mid-April, we're not really doing much. We came up to resistance again, pulled back. And so that when I was thinking, now the market's starting to show some weakness. And so I wanted to start looking and finding setups on the short side, on the downside for us to play if we do, if that weakness does what I think it's going to do. And of course, when the markets are up, most will follow the market trend, and some, of course, will the piss poor stocks, the ones that are just losing money, they will continue to go downward no matter what. So, but I like to have the overall market on our side. So looking back here and back in April, these are all the ones we posted, and you can see how they performed. And again, some of these you'll see repeats in here, but these are based on the exact criteria, the technical criteria that I rely on my setups. Okay, so my system pretty much will trigger this and give me the result, and I post it. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. So even going all the way back, SZYM, that's a current one. We're already, if you played it back on the 20th, April 20th, you're at 45%. Ross G, 25, VLTX, look, 68%. And so on, and the list goes on. And you look at this, and this list is outperforming what our premium picks on the bullish side certainly doing. That's the other great indicator is my systems aren't giving me bullish picks. We're not seeing the strength. We're not seeing the technical setups or even the strong breakouts that I like to see. That's another sign that things are turning because I'm not getting the setups. And so, yeah, so that's why I created this list. And again, you can see, let me see if I can zoom in a bit. A little bit better view here. Okay, this helps, I think. All right, so anyways, you can see how these have done. Now we're back in May. Hotter, HOTR, 51%. PBMD, 65%. There's PBMD again, 62%. Yeah, so Avio, 34%. So there's a lot of winners on the downside here. CMCM, 25%. There's Avio again. Momo, Ren, jumping up against some more. OHGI, 57. Tibio. These are just my nicknames, of course. I'll try to say the actual ticker symbol. Anyways, but here you go. HNR, 51%. There's a TBIO again, 44, and so on. And now we're into June, and these things are just still producing. The market's weak. These stocks are weak, and they're falling, and they fall a lot faster than they gain. So that's another thing about that. NES, 63%. So if you just could play shorts, or if you're not short in the market and you can't short the market, you can buy put options, and that's primarily what I've been doing. So I just want to show you that there is some money to be made on with options on the downside, buying puts. PBA, where's PBA? 66%. Unbelievable. And the list goes on. ETF, I got to fix this. This is not recognizing ETF. This stock is now about $12. ETF, it's pulling up a different ticker. It's not a 99-cent return on that one. So that's just where it looks up the ticker. It's got it confused with another ETF, apparently. So moving into modern times, here we are in July. Getting a few more misses in here, but again, we still have our winners. My tech. That was one just here a few weeks ago. That one just popped on us, 25%. ESI. Let's take a look at some of these. I'll show you on the chart here, and you can really see how awesome these things are. Let me do this. I'll first go through a few of the more in recent weeks here, and you can kind of see some of the setups and why these have been so good for us. So let's take a look at this. OCLS. Let me zoom in. Basically, this OCLS, that's 610, June 10th, made the list. This day right here. With this pop, expecting it to pull back, get back in range. This one's actually not a very good example, but we did squeeze 22% out of it. It's only $1.60 down to $1.17. Good percentage, not a lot on the actual dollar side. And again, all these companies I'm posting here are just very weak fundamentally companies. They're losing money. They don't have they don't have hardly any sales. They hardly don't have any revenue. They're not growing. They got weak management, weak products, weak markets, no investor, institutional interest in them. These are just falling from the sky, pretty much how I think about them. And a lot of them are priced right. I mean, a lot of these have really fallen. Here's the weekly chart of OCLS. Sorry, it's not. But you can see it was, up $7, and it's slowly falling downward. I'm not very familiar with this one. This is one that was just on the short list that I just grabbed here. Another one, TRCH. This was also on June 10th. Okay. So we did get a pop out of it. It pulled back, wrote one higher again, and then has since pulled back. Let's look at a higher priced one. HSC. Here we go. HSC. This one, July 1st. So on this day, this green day right here. This is when it made the list. And look at it right afterwards. And HSC has given us 36% since then. So you can see it's $17 level, and it's now down to 11. Just fell apart. Harsco. Okay, let me look at a couple more here. How about TSU? TSU on the 5th of July is when it made the list. So right about here. Again, failed to make higher highs, and it just fell apart from there. Another good one is TKC. No, it's not. That is the one, but that's not the one I want to show you. RYN, Rayonier. I played this one. Did well on this one. So this is July 9th initially. Where's July 9th? Right back in here. Yeah, this red candle here. So, it was at the top of this channel, and it hit resistance on the 100-day. And just simple technical analysis, I expected to bounce back. This company was just expected to, it's going to have earnings here in a bit. And of course, it missed earnings. This thing just took off and fell apart. So this was a really good play. And on this one, I believe I squeezed 200 and one play is 128%. Next one, 257%. So I bought in and sold in 2 different places, and that's how I gained. And my second half, I held through earnings here and got this breakdown here. And when I sold on this day, I sold might have been on the red day here, Thursday. Excuse me. My option was up 257%. Quick, easy money, man. And I don't mean to sound cocky about that, but I mean, it's when you look at these companies again and they're not making any money, they're losing money, and their industry, their market, their sector, everything is suffering. And then you have the market on top of it. And the overall markets are not bullish, they're not green, they're not strong right now. It's weak. And so I expect these weak companies to get even weaker and fall apart, especially with earnings, And so that's that. What else do we have? PBA. Oh my. Now, I did not play this one because why didn't I play it? Was it volume? No, it's got a lot of volume. May not have had options on it. I'm forgetting, but PBA on the 17th of July was 1 point. So we got in a little earlier too. Either one. It also made a list on the 17th of July, so I was right over here. So if you would have gotten on the 17th of July off the short list, you would have been up 66%. Okay. And we just went through earnings. I mean, just falling apart here. I mean, again, going back, look at this. It was at $5. Now we're down under $1. Okay. Just crazy. Another one I played, and every time I play it, I make money. MCF, Contago Oil. What are the earnings on this one? Okay. The last was 98-cent loss per share. And the estimate was 67-cent loss. So it was well under that. I've played this several times. I think I initially got in somewhere over here, going back to May. I could probably look at my list here. According to the short list, we at least got in on this, again, the 17th of July. So if you want to look even more in modern times here, that's when it finally broke through down here, right here. And since you could have squeezed 29% out of it, I think it just continues to fall. I mean, it's oil, energy. I mean, look at how oil and energy has been doing lately on top of it. So, I mean, get all these factors in your favor. Besides them losing money, just a simple technical play, What else we have? CHK, Chesapeake. Yes, Chesapeake. I'm not in Chesapeake. I know why I didn't play PVA, and I know why I didn't play Chesapeake on as far as the options. It was just they definitely have the volume. I just didn't like how it's priced. The spreads were crazy, and implied volatility was extremely high on them. And it was I couldn't enter them. I couldn't play them, and I didn't. Probably still would have made money on them, though, looking at how they've performed, how poorly they've performed, but good for us if we're playing on the short side. So same with CHK. This made the list on the 20th, which is right here on this day. And since then, it's down 21%, or up 21% if you played it on the short side. What else do we have here? Yeah, here's another good one. ESI. Okay, ESI made our list on July 30, right at this day. Day of earnings. Obviously, it missed earnings. Yes, 3 cents versus 12 cents. Gap down. I felt it was already high enough in the channel here. Broke right on through, gap down. And of course, I expect it to fall further. It went from $4 pretty much down to $3. So, yeah. What else do we have? I played SSYS. I got into SSYS back on the 30th. Where's that? Back here. And on the option play on that one, we did really well as well. I guess 46%, which I'm not, that's definitely not the greatest return, but I mean, who's going to argue with 46%? No one. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what we've been doing. So keep an eye on the short list. Keep an eye on the short list. Again, here it is. If we have low volume, I'll put over here on the side low volume, just because it's too low for me. I generally like to play 700,000 shares a day, average volume trading. Some of these might be 7, 6. I certainly won't go under 5. Yeah, if I play anything under 5, it's just too light for me. I just don't really mess with it much. Anyways, we did add some here in the last on the 4th here a few days ago. One of which was let's take a quick look at that. This one just totally popped on us here. That was back on the 4th. So this day here, and according to that, shows a 0.7 gain. Okay. Well, anyways, you can see on the chart, we got on that following day after this big pop. Next one here is HES. So that'd be on the 4th. So that's that day there. So right after it gave us this tumble down here. This is a higher price stock. Again, it's oil, energy, $55, $56. So yeah, this should give us some good play out of that. Then the other one was X. X doing and not too well. Okay, so again, we got in a few days ago, right back on here on the 4th, and it's since climbed up a little bit. This is Iron Steel, Basic Materials, U.S. Steel Corp. So now we're coming up to the average here, the 50-day average here. It doesn't mean it's not going to fall. I definitely expect it to continue downward. And, really, if it continues to climb up, it might come up to the 100-day here at the top of this channel, then fall. Just give it a few more days. Not a big deal, but I'm expecting that to return its downward path. And what's the other one here? Okay, I'll go through a few here, if you don't mind, some of the ones that I'm currently in. One of which is DeVry, DV. Let me turn off some of this chatter on here. I got lines drawn everywhere. Let me remove them. Okay, so I think you can see that. So DeVry, I don't have the dates I got in, but I had it written down here. I guess it's not that important, but it was probably back up in here. I'm playing the option on this. I'm playing an August 30 put. So I think we're outside the premium. I think we're just in the money on this one right now. We got earnings coming up in 9 days, 63-cent estimate. Like ESI is also private educational. So is DeVry. So how did they do? They missed earnings greatly. And frankly, I'm expecting DeVry to as well. So again, I only own this for a couple more weeks till when would that be? Yeah, 14. This will be. I'll hold it just a few days after the contract expiration is just after earnings. So if this thing really tanks on earnings, I'll be quick to get out. The other one I think I mentioned so far is Freeport McMoran, FCX. I've played this one a few times, and this one just keeps producing. This is metal mining, basic materials, copper producer, copper smelter, as well as a lot of other materials. But originally got in back in here, kind of looking at the support here, and it finally broke through. And I've played this one a few times. Let me see here. I take that back. I'm still holding it, but one of my positions I'd sold for a 200% gain, and I'm still holding. And yes, and I got in twice on 2 other contracts as well. So I am still deep in this one, and pretty much playing off the earnings I earned on the first time when I doubled my money. Threw it right back in, and the thing continues just to fall. And so this is a good producer. You can see we just had earnings. It actually beat earnings, but I think the outlook was not good. Just before this, they put out a press release right before earnings that they're going to close some, make some changes to. I think they're going to close a couple. I don't remember. Close a couple facilities or something like that to help their bottom line, and that was kind of a trigger to me that earnings are not going to be good if they're coming out trying to give good news before. Yeah, they announced reduction in oil and gas capital budget and continuing reviewing of mining operations. I think that was it. Yeah, pretty much that's it. So anyways, bottom line is this thing just keeps falling, and it's continuing to fall right now. I mean, look at Friday was down 6%. Many of these days it's been 5% or more down. Just things just falling apart. It's still a play if you ask me. I know, and I look on StockTwits sometimes, not on InvestFeed. There's not a lot of chatter on this one, but StockTwits, I can't believe how many people are throwing money at this thing. I mean, trying to call bottoms and, load the boat, get in now. It's incredible. and they're probably just saying that. I don't know, but I still see no reason why anybody would throw money at this right now. Unless you're, not on the long side, but on the short side, certainly. But there's nothing here technically that would tell you to buy now, except if you looked at, the Stoke and the RSI and you say, well, it's oversold. Clearly it's going to turn up. Well, let it turn up first then. This could get a nice little 10% bounce out of it. Maybe that's probably about it. It's weak. But, yeah, you could look at this and say, well, the Stoke will probably have to cross back up. But going back to July, early July is when it crossed below is that 20 on the Stoke. It hasn't even come up to it again or crossed above it since. And it could be down here for another 2 months. Who knows? So that's a good one. Another one. This is my one that I've been digging a lot. BDSI. Same thing. Got in back over here. Now this is a biotech outfit. We had this run up here. My system told me to get in right here. And I can tell you I was a little nervous about it. For one, biotechs I don't play much at all. And anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. They can get bought out, they can get an approval, or they can, not gain an approval. Anything can really happen with them. And looking at this run up, I wasn't convinced it was going to stop here necessarily. And this is my personal self talking. But I got in anyways. And, I got in two positions actually. Let me back that up. I got in originally down here, one position, one contract down here, and it failed. And it's continued to climb. When I got back up here, the system again told me it was another time to get in. I did. And that has since paid off. And now I'm in green on both of them, especially on this one. I closed this one out. This BDSI, I closed it out 131% gain. And this original one, I'm just green on it, maybe like 20% on it right now. But we have earnings coming up one day. So expected a negative 31 cents. So, yeah, I'm expecting this thing to tank. It could get a pop out of it. Either way, that's fine. I've already made some money on it. And, if that happens, I'll just sell my option. Maybe. We'll see here. I hold that option through September. Yeah. So I'll probably, if this thing goes against me and starts climbing again, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how strong of a pop it gets. But I'm not expecting much. I expect this thing to tank. You can see I've been watching the RSI down here as well. You can see we got this lower trend line. It finally, back on this day, September 29th, finally broke through it, came up, tested it again, failed. Let me look at the weekly on this one. I think there's a different perspective here in the weekly. Okay, so forget the RSI lens, they're out of whack. But I was also watching the Stoke down here, kind of had this line drawn there. I was thinking if we're going to come up and touch it, never did. This thing started to peel around. It is peeling around now. So yeah, so that's BDSI. So I'm currently playing that one right now. Another one I got into a few days ago here is Joy. Now this company is just one of the worst ones out there. Construction, agricultural machinery, capital goods, currently priced at $24.75. I did buy an October 27 put for this one. And I think right now, I'm just about even on it right now. I think I'm about my break-even point. So I'm expecting this thing to continue downward. You're probably saying, hey, it's going down long enough, but these companies are just losing money like crazy. So, again, they don't have any momentum behind them. There's no strength. There's no nothing. Look at the indicators here. Look down here at the Stoke. Again, it crossed beneath 20. It's just been riding sideways there. Just looking at when this thing crosses underneath 20. You could say other examples. Well, it's oversold. And it's going to curl back up, and sometimes it does. But down here, it crossed beneath it and stayed. And stayed and stayed and stayed and stayed. RSI is declining for quite a while here. Ultimately, get the crossover here, the DIs, negative DI crossed above the red, crossed above the green, way back here. If you played some simple indicators, you can really play these things nicely. And so you get the DIs on your side. It goes negative. You see, I drew a couple of lines here. Let me get rid of this one. You can see that we had this line here for our support on the RSI. It failed it soon thereafter at the same time. RSI was just not going anywhere. And then this thing just started to go. And then we started to find it broke through support over here. So now we're in a new ground, right? I think it's an all-time low. You look at the weekly. No, it's not an all-time low. Here's the weekly, so you can kind of get an idea what we're looking at. Yeah, so here we are. So looks like we had a little bit of support there. Way back over here, it's failed it. So, I mean, all right, next is 17. Well, I'd love to see that. I'll be a rich man if it goes down to 17. Good golly. I don't want that, though, because there's still people throwing money at this thing. There's still people bullish who think that they're going to find the bottom on this one. And finding the bottoms is a tough game. I've never been successful at it, but that's just me. So that's Joy. Next one, News Corp. Trying to think where I got into this one. I think I got in up here when the RSI broke through on the downside here. Really didn't do much, but on Thursday this thing gapped down really good. So, well, not gap down. I don't know how far down it went. Well, 1450 got down to the 13, so it swung a buck. Anyways, we have earnings coming up in 3 days. 6-cent estimate. And there's no telling what's going on here, but you can see our channel here. We're clearly, where'd it go? There we go. Okay. Again, I use the linear regression sometimes to kind of draw the channel for me. And again, when I got in, when the RSI was up here, we're at the top of the channel. So that was another reason why I felt there was room to come downward. And now we're starting to make that journey downward. And it could even land down here at earnings in 3 days. And then it's either going to pop or it's going to tank. So I'm really ready and willing to go for the ride. And as I go into earnings, I might sell some of the contracts and hold just a small percentage remaining going into earnings. Just maybe hold just a few more to see what happens. And again, I'm bearish on this one. The one bull I am on is SC. Now, this is a really strong company, and this is telling you why. I got in over here in this breakout. I purchased a call contract. Went up, did good, and then just put me down right here on that day. And I don't remember what happened. Hoping we get a bounce out of it. It's failed. The contract's pretty much worth nothing now. That's worth a few bucks. The contract expires in October. So, I mean, I'm really expecting a miracle here, but it's already worth nothing. I'll see if we can get a bounce out of it and recover something, but this is going to be one that's just a killer. And then, you know, again, this company is a good company, and this is what it's doing. It's weak in the weak market. That's not a good thing. So, okay, next. Recently, this last week, got into Sonus Networks, communications. This thing popped good on earnings. I got in, I believe, on this next day right here, expecting this thing to pull back. It has not pulled back yet. Look at this linear regression channel here. It's awfully wide. Now, of course, the computer trading view draws this based on the trading range and the trend and everything like that, and the probability and of the trading range and movement. It draws this. It's really wide right now. I'm sure it's due to the big gap down here that they had previously, and I do not know what that was about. Something major happened. Obviously, it went from 13 down to, we'll call it 8. One heck of a drop. So anyways, it's still showing weakness. It's trading downward. But I'm expecting this thing to drop. We get the 100-day. It's meeting right now. You can see here. So I don't think we're really going to have a lot of strength here with this one. This company is also not doing well. Let me take a look here at the fundamentals really quickly. And I think this company is a rated E. I mean, just using Market Smith. Sorry about that. Okay. Using Market Smith, which I use, it's an E. Yeah, it's an E. Relative strength is a 10 versus the S&P. This thing's just weak, just killing. It's got fair investor demand, fair industry strength, but its financial strength, price strength, and earning strength are in the garbage. So, Yeah. So let's take some time, patience. So we'll see what happens. So anyways, that's Suns. Again, I'm expecting that. What I bought there was October contract put. Next, FTR, Frontier Communications. We get a lot of volume on this one. Look at the average volume is 26 million. That's awesome. This one's all over the place. Same thing on this one. This thing popped on earnings here. It beat earnings 3 cents to 2 cents versus 2 cents. Not really that impressive if you ask me. A lot of investor demand on this one. But company-wise, earnings and price strength and industry, it's all pretty weak. It's got fair financial strength, but the one thing that is against it, though, is there is institutional demand on it. So that's probably a lot of the buying we see down here. I really don't think it's just your retail guy buying, maybe. Especially the earnings here, I'm sure. But again, I'm still expecting this thing to pull back. Show some weakness. It's currently at $5.17. So, yeah, that's Frontier. My contract is out through November on that one. So I got a long ways to go. I'm in the money on that one. So just let it. I already mentioned FCX. I already talked about that one. The other one, SU, Suncor. Excuse me. Suncor is another one I just got into here this week. Let me pull it up. Yeah, this also has weak earnings. Let's see how it did here. Oh, doubled the earnings. 51 cents versus the 25 cents estimate. So we got, what happened there? We got a good pop out of it. But I don't expect that to last long. So I got in on the day thereafter, I believe. It was on one of these 2 days. I think it was on the second day, this red candle here. We closed beneath the moving average, but it bounced back. So last week. So we'll see what this does. I think it'll probably come up here to the 100-day top of the channel here and then continue its fall. It's got a little bit of ways to go there for the moving average and the channel and that. So we'll see about that. Oil and gas, energy, Suncor. I'm not too familiar with the company overall. I definitely know the name. I've never played it before. So you can see also looking at the RSI. Prior to this, I'd kind of identified this area. It popped through it and it's pulling back. We'll see what it does. Kind of zooming in here. I wonder if this will pop back, test it, and then continue higher. The RSI still has room to go. You can see the Stoke is still unchanged. It's still pounding forward. Yeah, so we could see some movement for the next few days higher on this one. And I own this contract through December, and I'm in the money on it right now. So about a 30 put for December on this one. So, I don't think it's going to go above 30, and I have all the way till here for it to stay beneath 30 and my below my break-even point. And then my other one that I am currently in, Enoch. Now, this is my this was lucky. This had its pop on earnings here, as you can see. What did it do? It was up. What did it do that day? I forget. Anyways, the earnings it was up 25% or something like that. 20%, I don't remember. But Friday it came and I bought puts on it. And when I bought puts on it, this thing was still climbing. So all the volatility was fair on it, but the pricing for the put options was good because this thing had a lot of strength climbing, and in its rise on the day after earnings, it gapped up and took off. So I was able to pick up some puts for pretty cheap, and the next day it turned, and on Friday it's down $2.11 or 19.9%, so 20%. I mean, on paper, it looked like a really good call. I'd love to have him all do that. If I'm playing on the downside, get a nice pop, top of the channel, weak company, it's just all hype and hope. Well, unfortunately, I'm not expecting that thing to climb back up. Of course, I could be wrong, but we'll take a look here. And this company also, again, this is one of the worst companies. Fundamentally, rated an E. There's no investor demand hardly. Earning strength is poor. Price strength is poor. Industry strength is okay. Financial strength is okay, but there's no investor demand, no institutions, no not much demand. So unfortunately, all the people got in right here on Friday when this thing started to fall. That's them selling, saying, "Oh my gosh, what do we do? Let's get out of here. This is not going to climb." And so it rose and it fell. So, yeah. So I have a contract on this through December, and it's a where we got a 1250. It's deep in the money. December put on it. So love to see this thing continue to its fall. Okay, so here's one. Now this one had come up. Somebody mentioned this one in chat. I believe it was Bill. AQXP. This thing is up 482% on Friday. Okay, so I don't know anything about this company. I haven't looked at anything about this company yet, except I jotted it down that we're going to cover it. And in fact, now this actually hit my system. It's triggered my setup on my short side position for the short list. And so this will go on the short list, whether I like it or not, because that's what triggers. That was what was triggered, and I'm going to add it to the list. But definitely this kind of pop. I mean, unless I haven't even read the news. Wasn't earnings, was it? No, look at the earnings, 44-cent loss versus a 49-cent. So it beat the expectations, but this is not normal here. What happened? Stock jumping in after hours trading following earnings beat. Okay, so it must have beat the revenues or something. Revenue expectations. So, well, no, obviously it beat the earnings by 5 cents, but it's still a loss. And I don't know what the rest of the earnings statement says. Apparently, it must have been pretty good. It jumped $8.63 to close at 10.42, and it was down. It was down under $2. Holy smokes. Is this optionable? That's the question. Let's take a look at that right now while I'm here. This one, volatility is going to be just through the roof on this one. This one does not have any options. So poor me. If it did, you would see so many put contracts. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, in the chat, this one had come up. I believe Bill was wondering how to play this. What's our outlook on this one? This one's definitely going to be falling, I think. I mean, there's just the earnings. My goodness, there must be something in the earnings, but I mean, really, yeah. No, this has got to pull back. I mean, this has got to pull back. There's no way. There's no way overnight this thing goes from being valued at $1.70 a share to $10.42. Not by beating earnings by a nickel. So let me look here. I'm going to pull this article up here and just do a quick scan, because this is one that's obviously quite unique and outlier here, going up 482%. So shares of the Canadian drone company Equinox up 482%, skyrocketed more than 450 Friday after the company released positive mid-stage trial results for an inflammation therapy targeted towards patients with bladder pain syndrome. Shares traded on around 10:15 on Friday afternoon and closed at 179 on Thursday. Nearly 59 million shares have been traded. Wow. Okay, so they had positive mid-stage trial results. Okay, that's not an approval. And I'm not the biotech guy. Maybe this is really, really big news. Apparently the market thinks so. What do I know? But positive test results, does that really provide enough reason? I suppose if they had negative test results for the last few years and suddenly positive, yeah, that could be. So anyways, let me get back to the chart here. Okay, so my opinion, looking at the technicals of this, let me zoom out. Sorry about the mess here, folks. Looking at the technicals, this has got to come back down to earth. I would think this is going to come back at least down to support here. $6.50, $7. Maybe come down to the 200-day here, 780. But still, I mean, there's no way this can go and climb unless they come out with news on Monday and says the FDA approves everything, or something. Not expecting it. This has got to pull back. And again, a lot of these. Let me look at the fundamentals here. AQXP. Okay, this company is rated a D plus with Market Smith. Earning strength, obviously poor. Price strength is strong. Industry strength is strong. Investor demand is medium. So, yeah. I would say if this thing, I expect it to definitely pull back again. How far? I don't know. At least $7. It has to at least come down to the 200-day here. I think it's going to come all the way back down to 5, but we'll see. But I would definitely not jump in right now expecting it to go higher. We've gained how much of a surge here? That goes back a few months just in one day, one afternoon. Yeah. People are going to be selling. If this thing just starts to come down even 10%, you're going to see all these people take their money and run. I doubt all these people who played this are in for the long haul. Heck no, not with a pop like that. There's no way. So expect this thing to pull back. And, it's probably a good company, but you're going to get that pullback no matter what. People are going to taking their money off the table. This thing's going to come right back down. It's going to level out. And then, if it's got a real product, it'll start making new highs. I wouldn't get into this till it makes a new high for sure. So hope that answers your question on that one, Bill. A couple others I'm looking at here again are on this made my list here. Same with Career Education Corps, CISO. Let's see what it did. What did it do here? Okay, it missed earnings, loss of 14 cents versus a 12-cent profit gain, and it popped. It's an educational outfit, private school, kind of like ESI. Here's your ESI, kind of like DeVry. Okay. So what makes CISO special? I know what it does. It's that big green candle. That's what makes it special for me. I'm like this one. I'm expecting it to pull back. So it's currently at 420 right now. This thing's got to come back down to earth. Excuse me. Okay, so this is up 29% on Friday. How do the fundamentals look here, or the technicals? Well, look at the RSI. We're up above 70 here. Okay, so that tells me it's going to eventually, some point, obviously come back down perhaps. Yeah. We'll see. It might take a couple days, but I'm thinking this thing's going to, again, fall back down to its normal range. Get back in the channel here at some point. Might take a week or two. Could take Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and we'll be right back down here into the $2 range. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's take a look at CISO here. Yeah, it's optionable. Good volume on it. Let's see. It's volume on. Yeah, 2.27 million shares traded on Friday. Normally averages 623. So pretty light on volume. Might be worth a play. So anyways, we'll keep an eye on that one. Another one, BDBD, Boulder Brands. This one I don't know. I think this one might actually have some strength to continue. You can see it's been climbing. It gapped up a couple of points here. Had earnings, $0. Was expecting 1 cent per share. Missed it. That's still climbing. So I don't know. This is a food processing outfit. It's rated. Let me see. I'll tell you. I won't guess. Yeah, it's a investor demand is strong. Industry strength is strong. Everything else is weak. So, well, again, I don't know when, but I expect it to come back down on this channel at some point here. So back to sevens. Yeah, so we'll see. Again, it'll take a little bit of time. This isn't ready. I wouldn't get into this yet. I don't see the technicals aren't telling me it's now rolling over. Certainly, the one way to tell is if this thing on Monday is red and deeply red, just starts falling apart. But again, looking at the previous action, it's not just a one-time, one pop kind of thing like we see here with CISO. It's downward and then that big pop. We're not seeing it with BDBD. It's been slowly climbing up, so there could be something there. All right. Take a look at a couple others here. MGI. What is this? MoneyGram. Okay, MoneyGram. This is what I'm expecting with the others I just talked about. Okay. MoneyGram volume stinks. Only 250,000 on average. Didn't want to play it. Didn't play it. But we got this nice pop out of it, and now we're starting our downward fall right here. Okay, so like on the others, we were right here. Give it a day or two, and we're going to get some tight range up top here, and things just going to curl over. That's what I'm guessing. I'm betting. So Friday, this was down 5%. It's currently at 978. So this is going to fall back down. Who knows how far? But we got our RSI pretty quickly rolled over. So that's that one. I think we already talked about HES. KN, I had scribbled down here. Okay, KN. What's this? Knowles. Okay, Knowles, same thing. So just here a few days ago, we got up to this area here off support, and it's last 4 days it's pulled back. All right, sorry about that. Okay, KN, CRR. Okay, so this is another one. Same thing. Didn't really pop in earnings. Missed earnings. Oh yeah, missed earnings. 73 cents loss per share. Pulled back, right back down. So didn't play that. That was on the list. NTLS. Now this one, this one's just a stinker. This one's no good. This made my list prior. This is on the short list, and this is one that was a failed. On the short list, you can see it's a loser for us there. And this thing just has some strength here. Obviously, it's moving upward. So if you're long on that one, good job. SNMX. Okay, what are we doing here? Okay, well, obviously we had earnings pop nicely. Another biotech. That's a big variable there, big unknown for me. I don't know what this is going to do, but now we're starting to curl over here. Okay, look at the RSI. We got to 70. It's curling over. Maybe not yet. Again, I'm just not very confident in these biotechs. They can do anything. I really have to look into their news and see what's going on. But we'll keep an eye on SNMX. Nice pop. How far is it going to pull back? Could pull back mid-range here on the channel. Now the channel node is also increasing right now. It's not decreasing. So, what? Wait a minute. Hold on. Stand by real quick here. Real quick. Hold on. All right, sorry about that. I'm sorry about the song too. Okay, someone just texted me and said they're outside my door, and that's not true. Anyway, so what's it going to do? We'll see. And I got a couple more here for you. Okay. Long was another one we've been watching. What's this done? Okay, so this one gapped up here on earnings. Hasn't really done anything there. We actually got 3 days of candles in there. Really tight trading range. Not in this one. Don't know what's going on, but it made my list. PRI, I wanted to keep an eye on. Nothing going on there. So that is that on those. Let me see if anybody else is around here. All right. Okay, so let me grab the invite. I'm going to send it over to our friends in chat. Stand by. Oh, what a beautiful day. Okay, we're going to give the link here over to chat. Anybody wants to join? And okay, I see Bill left a comment an hour ago. Okay. What is good charting software for a beginner? Okay, so that's what Bill had suggested, a question he had raised. What I use, let me go back to the screen share, and again, I'll show you, is there's a couple different ones. Let me find this here. Let me go back to screen share. Is Charting View, or Trading View, sorry. Okay, so this is Trading View. This is the program, this is the charting software that I've been using on this, and this is what I primarily use. Occasionally there's some funky bugs with it, but it's never really an issue. What I really like about it is it's a nice clean layout, and you can configure it. There's a lot of buttons, a lot of things on here. It's kind of wild, but it's really simple. You can move a lot of this stuff around. But basically on the left over here is all your drawing tools. Okay, so what you're probably going to want are lines, your trend lines. You can come over here, grab those, draw those. You can see all of them, and you can draw your support and resistance and trend lines, that type of thing, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Different time periods up here. This also gives you different kind of candles. Okay, so this is just normal candles, and I can go to the Heikinashi, and then there's that one, which the Renko I don't use. Then you get the Kagi. I mean, all these are different ones. I don't use them. Then you just have the bars, and I think there's probably a few more. Yeah, there's a few more you can have. I just stick with the candles myself. I do sometimes like the Heikinashi, because what it does is it pretty much paints the candles based on the trend more than the actual. So you look at this downward slide here, it's all in red. If you go to the candles, you're going to have a few greens in there. A few greens, bad example. But basically what it does is that it pretty much just kind of cleans it up for you a little bit. Makes it a little bit easier to see when you're heading down or when you're heading up historically. So that's all right. And then over here, you have your watch list. I've added up to 200-300 in this list, so it doesn't max out. It gives you details on the stock and the news. There's all these other buttons over here. You can set up your alerts, data window. And this gives you, this over here is percent advantages, declines. You can change these. So if you want to see who did it the most, and here's our AQXP up 482%. EGL, look at that one up 37%. Here's our SECO, career education, and so on. Then we can look at the losers. And then volume leaders. So, whoa, look at Soon. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. So I think this one's probably a bit exhausted. But then again, there's no telling. I thought, oh my gosh, soon. Sun Edison. Wow. Yeah, it's definitely a rated E. Holy cow. Oh, I didn't draw that line. Anyway, so Trading View is good. The other one that I use is most people use stock charts. Stockcharts.com. And this one's good. What I like about it is, let me do this here. We'll look at FCX. Okay, so let me zoom in a bit. Might be able to get a better view. It's pretty basic, pretty simple. You can add different indicators and that on there. Yeah, so yeah, that one's a good one too. It's free, and they also have a premium service as well. You can extend the range, go deeper. You can add more. It's pretty customizable, but it's all on a web page, obviously, and it's pretty good. I subscribed to it years ago. It was like $15 a month, and I didn't really get the maximum use out of it that I really wanted to. So I didn't really use it very well. The other one that I really started with was free stock charts. This one I really liked. The problem I had with it, though, was it relies on Microsoft Silverlight plugin to operate. And it's a Microsoft product, Silverlight is. And so it fails all the time. But this product is really, really good. I really like it. What I liked about it is, like Trading View, when you draw on a chart and you come back to that chart a week later, your drawings are still left on there. With stockcharts.com, that's not always the case unless it's changed. But I would draw in here and have my lists and everything, and This is the free version, so you got this big banner ad way over here on the right, and I'm zoomed in too close. Zoom out a bit here, might have a better view. But same kind of thing, and you can change the color, the darkness, the lightness, the background, the colors, indicators, you name it. So, and this one works really well. I like it. And there's also a paid feature. This is also the TC2000 series product, as you might. It's made by Warden, so pretty much the same thing, but they have one that's a paid one, and it's like $70 a month, and it's a TC2000. And you can set up multiple charts, multiple setups. You can screen, you can do everything. I've never done that premium package one on it though. Again, I'm a little cautious with using Microsoft, to rely on Microsoft Silverlight for a platform. The machine I'm on right now is an Apple, and it seems to be working okay. But since then, I've been using TradingView, and I've been using that one. So bottom line, to answer your question, the two charting packages I would definitely check out. You can try freestockcharts.com. And then there's TradingView. And then the other free one is stockcharts.com. So yeah, that's that. So, all right. See if we have anybody. Okay. All right, folks. Well, that's pretty much the outlook for this next week. Just to recap again here, I'm watching to see if we're going to break through this down here on the S&P, if we're going to break through the 200-day here. And if that's the case, then it's going to get ugly for the bulls, unfortunately. Again, myself, I've been a bull for a long time, but all indicators are telling me we're heading downward. And you can even look at this trend line here. It's kind of hard to see this blue line I have drawn over the tops here. Wait, where'd that go? There we go. Right here. It's sloping downward. But, you know, our highs are getting higher lows, excuse me. So it's kind of like this weird, funky wedge pattern or something going on here, but not really. Okay, here again. So here's the weekly, you know. Yeah. Ugly. Again, on the downside, I'm doing much better on the short side, on the bearish side right now, than I am on the long side for sure. So that means anything, I don't know. It means a lot to me right now because it's working. So, and you know what? If the markets turn around and the S&P gets back up and finds new highs and takes off, and the market just explodes on the upside, well, then I'm moving to the upside. I'm moving back to the bullish side. You know, again, is our bullish trend over with? I wouldn't say so right now, but again, on the short-term viewpoint, I'm playing this all in here. So just be open, and you know, if the market turns on you, just get out. You know, if this thing fails through here and all your longs are underwater and you're in the red on them, and look at the S&P here and see where you're at. And if we're down in this range here, that's trouble. You know, and it's happened going back to October. Look at this. I thought the world was ending. Not in a panic way, but I mean, again, look at this. When was the last time? Let me jump to the weekly here. When was the last time we were down at the 200-day? It's 2011. And ever since then, we're climbing on up. Not that we're at the 200 week at that point, but I mean, look at the chart here. We're holding the 50-week line. Even the 100-week line, the blue one, you know. And we're still above that and everything, I know. Okay, this is the weekly. Let me look at the daily. Sorry, so that was the 200-week line and so on. But again, going back, here's 2012. So, okay, look at the purple line again. So even going back into 2012 was the last time we were underneath the 200-day moving average. And we've since climbed. We've held it. And then back October 16th, we were finally beneath it. And again, that was like, oh my gosh, is the trend over? If you ever paid much attention to the news and you watch the clowns on CNBC and all that, you know, they're all having strokes and everything like that. And, you know, and all the analysts are putting in their sell orders and their downgrades and all that. And it just turned around and popped on them because they want you all to sell. So, yeah. So that's what's going on. All right, folks. Well, sorry for this long video. But it's kind of a lot to cover again. And I mentioned a lot of stocks there. Again, if you're playing on the upside, consider the downside too. Be cautious in what you do. Make sure you use your stops. Make sure you limit your losses if you have any. Again, you can play all day if you keep limiting your losses. If you just buy and hold and let the thing fall apart and crumble on you. CVX Chevron 135. Now we're below. Where to go? We're at 83 now. 83.75. Okay, 40%. Are you one of those who buys and holds and just rides this down to nothing? See you again in 2017 when it comes back up. It's tough. So, all right, folks. Well, again, this is Eric from TopFlight Trades. Let me turn off the sharing here. I'll come back to the camera. Eric from TopFlight Trades. So thanks a lot for watching. Again, you can find me at topflighttrades.com, over on Facebook, we're on StockTwits, Google Plus. Kind of reach out to all those when I push stuff out. Of course, on Twitter. But there's also InvestFeed. If you haven't come over to InvestFeed, check it out. It's a new platform. It's kind of like StockTwits, except there's a lot less noise. Okay. Basically, traders post their trades on there, and their trading record is revealed, and their performance and that. And you could subscribe to these traders. So if you see a trader on there that's doing really well, you can subscribe to their feed and then follow their trades. As they trade them, of course. And we're over there, and we just happen to be number one over there right now. So, but that could be taken away at any moment. There's a lot of good people over there, and a lot of guys know what they're talking about, and gals. So there's a really good group of folks over there. So I tell you to head on over and check them out and look at all their profiles and look at their history and their performance. And I think you'll learn a lot from a lot of the people over there. It's a really, really neat site. So come check it out. And of course, keep an eye on the short list at TopFlight Trades. That's where I'm posting a lot of the entries, and the same thing over at InvestFeed. I post them on over there. So have a wonderful weekend. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. So thanks a lot. Have a good weekend. Bye.